so this next item is kind of more of like a personal preference. I didn't think that I would be traveling with something like this, and then I ended up with one and really loved it. Hola, hola mi gente, ¿qué pasa? Y bienvenidos de nuevo a mi canal. If you're new here, what is up? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ariana and I am a digital nomad. I document my journey as I travel around the world. As you can tell by the title of this video, today we're going to be diving into some of my favorite travel essential items that have held me down as a digital nomad. If you've been following along, you know that this video is part 3 of a 3-part series where I share some of my other travel essential favorites, both for just general everyday travel as well as for natural hair care. This one is focused on being a digital nomad, but if you're interested in any of the other 2 topics, be sure to check out those videos that I will link above and below. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So my first travel item that I have loved using as a digital nomad are these cord ties. Now, as you can see, this is a brand new pack that I just bought. I restocked the last time that I visited home. But these gear ties, I call them cord ties, gear ties. Essentially what they do is tie up your cords, as you can see in the picture here. It stops cords from being all tangled up with one another, and it helps you to stay organized. And I like to stay organized. So since I have a lot of different cords that go to a lot of different things, charge a lot of different things, this has been really helpful to keep things organized and in a good place. I also really like these because you can wrap them around the cord even when you're not packing them up or trying to like keep them organized. When they're in use, I wrap them around the cord itself, and it keeps it from like sliding off the desk. I'll put a clip in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I like that it kind of keeps like my cords like all sitting up where I can easily grab them. So like, let's say my computer it's already charged and I just unplug it. Instead of the cord slipping and falling all the way to the floor, it just kind of like hangs off the desk. And I don't know, I just really like that. So I found these really useful for that. Same thing with charging my phone, like it props itself up on like a shelf or a desk. So when I unplug my phone, it's not falling to the floor every time and then just in the way, me being clumsy, you know, I could step on it and yeah, all sorts of things. So I really like these. As I mentioned, this is a new pack, obviously. I haven't opened this one up just yet. I have had to replace these probably every single time that I go home because these ties are made out of like a metal wire that's in the inside, and then it's wrapped around with like a rubber plastic. So the rubber plastic on the outside, sometimes from the wear and tear of like bending the metal will poke through, and it just doesn't it doesn't hold. They don't last forever, but they are really convenient and do a great job when they are, you know, functional. So I would say each one probably lasts for like a year with the way that I wrap them. You can probably preserve them longer if you're not wrapping and unwrapping as often, or when you do wrap them, you don't wrap them as tightly as I do. So essentially, like, instead of wrapping it like this, maybe just wrap it around like once or twice, and then you won't be putting as much like bend into the metal wire, if that makes sense. But I totally think these are worth it. So these 4 were like around $6 or so. So once a year, I'm willing to pay $6 for these, because these have really been a lifesaver when it comes to organizing my cords and just everyday use. I love them. Next up, for my favorite digital nomad travel essentials, is this headset, which I really wish I could hook a headset up to my camera right now, because I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it is so much traffic and so much noise outside. It is really distracting. But basically that's what this headset does. It blocks out noise. I can take calls in a cafe, I can take calls at a park, I can take calls on the beach, though I wouldn't recommend it because that's distracting. I can take calls anywhere, and this blocks the noise out. It is fabulous. I highly recommend that everyone get one of these, just because it opens up the possibilities of where you can work from, and it makes sure that any background noise doesn't interfere with the calls that you're having. This is actually one that I just purchased off Amazon recently. Before I had a different one. It was given to me by my old employer, but it kind of broke down and I don't know where they bought that one from. So I can recommend this one. It's worked very well. It also has like a reversible side to it. So whether you like listening on the left or on the right, you can switch it around so that you can, this way, so that you can wear it on either ear. So that's been nice. It comes with different earbud pieces, so depending on how big or small your inner ear is, it has different sizes for that. And then it's got controls like on the actual device itself, so I can turn the volume up or down. I can connect with calls or disconnect from the headpiece as well. And then this is a button to turn things on and off. So overall, I really like this. The battery life has been pretty good. I haven't had to really charge it that often. Right now it's at 71%, and I had a meeting last week and haven't charged it since. And I probably haven't charged it for like 2 weeks now. So the battery life holds up pretty well. The case itself charges too. I just realized it said 70% when I put it in there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it is charging while it's in the case. And this is really light. That's one thing that I have preferred over the one that I had before, is how lightweight this headset is. And when you're traveling, weight is everything, okay? So yes, a headset is something I would highly recommend as a digital nomad, especially one that blocks out background noise. It is a must-have. This next essential is a tried and true must-have as well. It is an extension cord. I feel like this is so old school and maybe not something that most people will expect, but this extension cord has come in handy, okay? Not only is it good because obviously it gives extension. So there's some places that I've been where there is outlets in the most awkward places there could possibly be. So like you'll have the bed here and the the power outlet will be all the way on the other side of the wall. So it's like, how do I plug anything in and actually still use it? Extension cord. Another reason I really like this one is because it has multiple ways to plug in. So you see there's one there, there's two here, but usually I can't plug in two things at one time. So I can at least charge 2 items at once, or sometimes I'll get fancy and I'll be able to charge my battery pack, and for my battery pack I can charge 2 other things and charge something in here. So it just opens up the possibilities of how many things you can charge at one time. And of course it's giving you like extension. Like, this is amazing. I have used this not only in cafes or accommodations where I'm staying, but I've also used this at the airport. So a lot of times though in the airport they'll have the little charging stations, and usually, you know, everyone gets like one power source. You've got to be considerate of other people needing to charge their stuff. But with this, like I could charge one, I could use one of those little power outlets and be able to charge 5 to 6 days, okay? I just be like, all right, yeah, y'all got it. So if there's one thing that I could really recommend for anybody traveling as a digital nomad, it's definitely to take an extension cord. I didn't even get this off Amazon. Shout out to my dad and my mom. My parents let me take this from the house. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can like get this from a hardware store. But I'll be sure to link one on Amazon along with the rest of these products down in the description box below. So be sure to check that out. My next travel essential for digital nomads is a hard drive. Now, personally, because I am a designer as well as I do YouTube, I actually have 2 hard drives. I have 2 just because I had an almost freak accident with this one. It was acting like it didn't want to work anymore, and so I had to go get it recovered. In order to recover it, I had to buy another one so that they could put everything off of this one onto this one, wipe this one, fix this one, and then I ended up with 2. But now I just travel with both of them just in case something happens to this one or this one. I have a backup. I am not someone who likes to pay hundreds of dollars for storage. I also don't like the idea of things being in the cloud and anything could happen with technology and me just not being able to access them. So I do like to have a physical backup, a physical copy of all my digital files, and so I put them on these hard drives. I have seen other hard drives that are a lot smaller than the ones that I travel with. So I'll be sure to link the one that I have. I have a Toshiba and I also have a Seagate. These are both pretty good in terms of like brand and quality, but I'll be sure to find one that's a lot smaller because I recommend traveling with those. You can get just as much space as what those offer me, which are 2 terabytes, 2 TB. You can get just as much space in a smaller package or even more. I've seen those little ones that they're small but they're mighty, okay? So the point is you just want to have a hard drive to be able to back up your things as you're traveling, especially if you're doing something like YouTube and you want to be able to have those files on hand. I know there's cloud storage and things like that, but it really can start to get pricey, and this is just a much more cost-effective way to back up your stuff. Okay, so this next item is kind of more of like a personal preference. I didn't think that I would be traveling with something like this, and then I ended up with one and really loved it. So I'm just gonna throw it in this list. But it is an iPad. Yes, an iPad. I love this iPad for multiple reasons. As I mentioned, I'm a UX designer, so having this allows me to have multiple screens up. I can connect my iPad to my MacBook and actually show my screen extended on this screen and work from 2 screens, so that's really, really helpful. I also really like it because I'll have a pen. This pen, it is not an Apple pen. This is one I got off of Amazon. It works just as great. But I can use this to sketch out ideas, do wireframes and things like that really quickly. So I really like having this pen and being able to write, having something to physically write on. Because as a nomad, like, you can write on paper. I travel with like journals and notebooks as well, but it starts to get like a lot. It starts to be a lot to like keep up with. I like to have a journal for writing, but when it comes to like sketching things out, or even sometimes I just want to draw, this comes in handy because everything is saved digitally. And not only that, but I can transfer stuff that I work on to my MacBook and be able to work from drawn wireframes and translate those into like actual mock-ups and wireframes on my computer. So this has been a plus for me as a designer. I also really like it just traveling in general on planes. I can download movies, I can read books, I can do so much on this iPad. And like I said, I didn't initially have an iPad before I started traveling. I didn't think that I would have one. I ended up selling my MacBook before I packed up everything to move, and I found out that instead of just selling it, I could actually exchange it for this. So I figured, why not? I'll exchange my MacBook and get an iPad, and it turned out to be one of my favorite purchases. So if you are on the fence about maybe getting an iPad as a digital nomad or just traveling in general, I support. Get you one. Alright, so this next item kind of goes hand in hand with the hard drives and some other things too, but it is this USB adapter. It looks kind of funky because it's got this extension cord, but trust me when I say the extension cord is key, especially if you have any of the newer MacBooks. The cases that they make for those MacBooks do not allow for the USB adapters that don't have this extension. So essentially they just like look like this little piece right here, and they snap into the computer. But a lot of the cases that they make for MacBooks have something to cut off from here down below, so you can't actually like plug it in all the way, if that makes any sense. So this is the replacement that I actually got as a solution for that, since I couldn't find a case that would allow me to plug one in all the way. This extension is perfect because it plugs right in, and then I can plug all the devices I need to in there. So it's got multiple USB ports to hook in those hard drives. It's even got a slot here for my SD card for my camera, and some other slots for other things that I don't really use as often. This is for like a micro SD card, so a mini SD card, and this is for PD, which I'm assuming is to like connect. No, I don't know what PD is, but if you need a PD cord, it's got that. And then it's also got an HDMI cord, so if you want to connect to a TV or to another screen, I can put this into my computer, plug the HDMI cord into the 2 devices, and project my screen onto that other one. So yeah, I highly recommend this for multiple reasons, especially if you are working, with hard drives and things like that. Obviously you're going to need to plug into your computer. It's the extension part that makes the difference. My next item isn't a physical product, but it is still just as important and essential in my opinion, and that's a VPN. Personally, I use NordVPN. I have found it to be just the best out of the ones that I've tried. Before, I started out with Surfshark, and that one was okay, but I found that I couldn't watch all the movies or access all the apps that I wanted to. So NordVPN has been the one to hold me down. I've also found their plans fairly affordable. And yeah, VPNs are essential because they protect you while you are using open virtual networks. So anytime that you are connecting to Wi-Fi, especially public Wi-Fi, even some private Wi-Fis, maybe in your Airbnb or at a hotel, it's just good to always be protecting, you know, your data while you are accessing these open networks. So yeah, I have NordVPN on my computer as well as my phone and my iPad. And yeah, I haven't had any issues with my data being breached, thank God. And I've been able to access things like using Netflix and watching it in the States, or using my Hulu. That's a big one. That's why I had to let Surfshark go, because I couldn't use Hulu all the time. But little things like that, I found that all the apps have worked just fine while using NordVPN. So if you are looking for a VPN to use, I highly recommend using that one, and I'll be sure to leave a link down to their site below. Alright, so next up is a good pair of headphones. So these are Beats headphones. I love my Beats. Again, it was a purchase that I did not expect to get. It kind of came with the iPad situation when I traded in my iMac. But I love these. These are great. These are excellent for blocking out noise, especially on the plane. It's really easy to kind of like zone out and either go to sleep or zone out and get work done when I am just in a zone and want to work. So yeah, I really do like these Beats headphones, but essentially any headphones that are noise blockers will work. I also, in addition to the Beats headphones, I actually have earbuds that do the same thing. These I did actually get off of Amazon, but yeah, they're just small little earbuds. They block out noise. They're good on noise cancellation, Bluetooth, obviously wireless, and then it comes with this rechargeable case. They last a pretty long time. I don't think I've ever made it through like if I have maybe like a 6-hour flight or more, I don't think these hold up all the way. But again, this is why I have both options, both the headphones here and these headphones, because these Beats last a long time. Like I could probably listen to these all day and they will still have some juice and be playing and charged at the end of the day. Versus these, the case itself stays charged for a pretty long time. Like I don't have to charge the case all the time, but I have to take the earbuds out and put them back in the case so that they can recharge. So good to have. I like having these on hand just because they're obviously smaller. It's a little bit easier to kind of like grab out of my bag, but the Beats are definitely like my preferred. I love them. Alright, last but not least on my list for digital nomad travel essentials are blue light glasses. Yes, so I love these glasses. These aren't the original ones that I started traveling with, but I do still have those as well. I just got another pair because, you know, different style, you know, switch it up a little bit. But these are essential for protecting your eyes. Digital nomads are constantly staring at computer screens and phones and all the screens. Like, it's important that we protect our eyes just as much as it's important to protect our virtual networks or any of our other devices that we travel with. Our eyes are essential to what we do. So these are a must. Blue light glasses. Essentially, they block the blue lights from like interfering with your eyeballs, with your vision, keeping your vision stronger longer while we stare at these screens. So I highly recommend getting a pair. I'll drop the link to the ones that I have down below. And yeah, if you find yourself staring at screens often, even if you're not traveling, get yourself a pair of blue light glasses. Like, your eyes will definitely thank you. And that's a wrap. That wraps up all the items that I have to share that have helped me as a digital nomad while traveling for these last 3 years. If you have some other items that I did not mention, please do drop them down in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. And thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you are interested in travel essentials for natural hair or travel essentials for just everyday travel, be sure to check out my other videos on those as well. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao! If you've been following along, you know that this video is part 3 of a 3-part series where I share some of my favorite travel items that have held me down. The cars outside are really getting on my nerves. I also really like these because they can be used to kind of keep your cords from slipping. I don't know if that makes any sense. But again, really, can people just stop driving today? That would be awesome. Just go home. Walk. Take the bus. Ride the subway. There's so many other options than to be driving by my window making all this noise. Please drop them down. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so my next travel essential must-have for digital nomads is a hard drive. Now, as you can see, I have 2, and they're big ones. I wouldn't even... Let me grab this up.